Welcome to the most authoritative hour on TV. It's The Pulse. We are live from our studios in Kokomlimle on your digital terrestrial TV because we're free to air on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144. Remember, we are your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. This afternoon, lawyers for embattled Asin North MP filed notice of appeal in Cape Coast, wanting the appeals court to overturn the High Court's decision on Joe Jachikweisen. We'll tell you why his lawyers describe the decision of the court as one that is in clear violation of the Constitution 1992.
I'm still a member of parliament.
Also this afternoon, scores of students at the University of Ghana stranded as the University Teachers Association of Ghana begins its strike over deteriorating working conditions. We're live in the university to gauge the mood and also have a conversation with the teachers and their employers. Plus, Ghana's health facilities overwhelmed as the country's COVID-19 new cases rise to 541 since the last update of the COVID-19 situation. This afternoon, we'll be assessing the dangers and also weighing measures put in place to deal with the situation. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. The Pulse is brought to you by Global Communities, Dignilu Affordable Safe Sanitation. Remember, we're also streaming live on YouTube and all our social media handles. Tweet at us with the hashtag #ThePulse. My personal handle is @TheNana Aisha. Always a pleasure to host you. Many thanks for choosing us. Let's begin with lawyers who embattled the Asin North MP who have filed a notice of appeal in Cape Coast. According to the lawyers, the decision of the court was not based on settled laws and were in clear violation of the Constitution 1992. They want the Court of Appeal to overturn the decision of the Cape Coast High Court. The NDC has also petitioned the Judicial Service to punish the registrar of the Cape Coast High Court and others who they say frustrated them when they wanted to file processes at the court last Tuesday. Kojo Nyako is our man in court and he joins us on the line with more. Kojo, you have a copy of the notice of appeal. What are the specific requests made by the lawyers of the Asin North MP?
So Aisha, the grounds of appeal, it says that the decision of the High Court is per incurium. The per incurium means that it was settled with no basis in law. And so they ground it on the basis that the determination of foreign law, in this case, the Canadian law pertaining to owning allegiance to Canada, is a question of fact to be proven by leading evidence, but the court did not make them do that. Then the High Court did not also allow for proof of foreign law in the determination of the issue of whether or not the appellant owed allegiance to any other country apart from Ghana. The second one is that High Court erred in law and acted out of jurisdiction by not referring the interpretation of Article 94(2)(a) of the 1992 Constitution to the Supreme Court, having regard to the different interpretations of the parties in the suit. And so they said that the High Court wrongly assumed jurisdiction in breach of Article 131 of the Constitution by purporting to enforce Article 94(2)(a) thereof against the appellant on the alleged grounds that he owed allegiance to Canada at the time of his nomination as a candidate for the December 7, 2020 parliamentary election. So these are the main grounds of appeal. So they are also seeking some declaratory reliefs from the Court of Appeal. One, that a declaration that the judgment of the High Court Cape Coast, the judge who presided over the case, is void for having been issued out of jurisdiction. The second one, an order setting aside the judgment of the High Court Cape Coast that was also given by Justice Kwesi Boakye. The third, an order setting aside the award of cost against Mr. Joe Jachikweisen in favor of the petitioner, that is Mr. Joe Jachikweisen. And then the last one, the cost in favor of the appellant. Now, after the court processes, the national chairman of the NDC, Samuel Ofosu-Ampofo, has been addressing the media. He says that they were coming to the Asin North constituency to gauge the mood here, to speak with the people, to assure them that the man is still, the NDC was still working on the processes, and whether there is a by-election or the Court of Appeal processes they go through, they believe that the NDC will still win the seat. And so they have been to the constituency. What happened in the constituency was that the main road, it was like a triumphant entry of Mr. Joy Achikwesin back to the constituency. There were brass band music, the people were dancing, and they said that they know no MP other than Mr. Joy Achikwesin. Now, something interesting also happened. Mr. Achikwesin has been addressing the chiefs of this particular area, and then he indicates that he's still their MP, and he came from Canada after being in Surgeon for a very long time. He's worked very hard to get some money to come and support the people. So essentially, his motive of coming to stand for the MP here is to just give back to the society here. So he was shedding tears, and so it brought some kind of calmness and so some somber mood before the chiefs here. And so that is what has been happening here. We've been also speaking with the national chairman of the party, Sami Jemfi, and then the vice national chair of the NDC party as well.
All right. Listen to the national chairman of the NDC, Samuel Ofosu-Ampofo.
Our MP to the constituency to engage with the party at the constituency level, and some of our regional executives are already there, and to assure them of the unflinching support of the party behind the MP, and to also remind them that the decision that they took in electing Honorable Kwesin as their Member of Parliament, of which our follow-up and monitoring indicates that the past 6 months that he has been in Parliament is live up to expectation, and the people are very happy about the work that he has done so far. And to go and assure them that together with the constituents and those who voted for him, we will move and support him to ensure that justice is not denied the people, and that the vote and the confidence that they repose in him will not be dashed by anybody through any machination. So we are going there, and the party wants to send a very clear signal that both legally and politically will fight this battle to its logical conclusion.
We are saying that the decision was a travesty of justice and should be overturned by the Court of Appeal because, number one, the trial judge lacked jurisdiction to determine the matter. The matter borders on the interpretation of the Constitution. Rival meanings were put on the meaning of Article 94(2)A, which was at the heart of this case. And per the laws of this country, the High Court judge was bound to refer the matter to the Supreme Court to interpret same, because such issues fall within their exclusive jurisdiction under Article 130 of the 1992 Constitution. Secondly, we are saying that the trial court had no authority to determine this matter on the basis of foreign law without trial, without calling evidence. It was wrong for him to have resorted to Wikipedia and to information contained on the so-called renunciation certificate, or a renunciation certificate, to determine foreign law. Because per Section 1(2) of the Evidence Act, foreign law is a matter of fact, and the Supreme Court has said that foreign law can only be determined at trial by adducing evidence, preferably through expert witnesses, and that was not done in this case. You realize that this matter was hurriedly conducted and concluded on the basis of pleadings or adduction of evidence and so on, and we think that is against the Evidence Act and the laws of this country. Apart from that, there is the issue of the decision being in violation of certain laws and certain decisions of the Supreme Court. That is what the lawyers call per incurium. When a judge decides a matter in flagrant disregard for law or binding decisions of superior courts, that decision is per incurium. So we are saying that the decision violates Section 21D of the Representation of the People Law, PNDC Law 284, which says that qualification must be as at a time of election and not nomination. Again, it violates the Supreme Court decision in the case of S Party, Electoral Commission, Pakwesi Indium, interested party, which says that nomination period is different from nomination days. And so the nomination period is not just the period between when forms are picked and submitted, but the nomination period goes beyond the nomination days, which is the period where forms are picked and submitted, and includes the period that the EC as an administrative body will use to assess the nomination form submitted, vet the information on same, offer opportunity for a candidate to correct, amend, or even hear and determine petitions that are challenging that nomination. And so, granted, or as
that was Sami Jemfi, who is the National Communications Officer of the NDC. Kojonyako, the MP, the embattled MP himself, has been touring the area and engaging the constituent. Why has that become necessary?
Well, from the Court of Appeal, the processes they filed at the court, they proceeded to this area. They said that the people were yearning to see him, and it was very important that he also saw him. So he came with the national leadership of the party. They came right at the entrance to Asin Breku. You could see him in short, riding high and receiving some chants, some applauses and all of that. The people were chanting, saying that that is their MP, because for the past 6 months that he's been in office, he's done something spectacular that none of his predecessors has been able to do. And so from here, they went to the Omanhine's palace, and then they proceeded to address the Omanhine. The first to speak was the chairman, national chairman of the NDC, and then the other subsequent speakers also spoke. And then Mr. Joy Jachikwesion himself has been speaking, and he's spoken for the first time before the chiefs and people of the area.
And the only part that's on it to be here. Opa dear ya mama for near but it will not be forever. Their days are measured. And to me, I'm fighting for you people. If I've devoted my life, my life as you as I may come more now as I must mojitum. Dear Contoquano Obiama, me, I near Simisuni in a year. I do not wear your party some more. I say not here yet. Now, my bass me was a party about woman met me, says, I say not, they met me panel, any NDC party. Adam Mahama Bahana, Yura Mahama Baye, Yan Campbell Bayano. I said, Ben, no, Gina Jomo catching an or so to me who said, Moapia, a candidate here, my father, or Passover Buamo. Because I smell the catcher. Sanya when Yantin and Baye, or money, what Canada 40 years plus, that's only Mumradi, I know and took a crack. I respect the law. BBA chairman, I file appeal, BBA. I'm still your member of parliament. I'm still your member of parliament. Or money yen buy. And if I'm Karana woman, I would say a woman buy. One of it me up to pure water and such a plantain chip in the pan or the abobra. Or see if you have a palm way. Every school more muko. And when I told the Excellency, Mamma, or Casa would do my small car and say, Oba, about woman. Near my son, not I am model constituent, consistent and Minim so bass obey. Intimacy me left foundation, Obia the over stop we and put to a person at the bass in not here. Omo Payama can't break when I say not in our class gold. No, we are no baby, be a woman's answer, be a free baby, I the old dear way. And the entire person of Travis over I say Central now, if you are sent south, now so be say not. And the now county also over. And then the man will say, Obiaba, person your mind see or no see. Ain't when they are more fun say. A quite be asked, Yanko Mama, who many I say. When can I question? A mouth for good young share. And remember,
you have the embattled Georgia Chikwesin speaking to the constituents, and he's been explaining that he's going through all of that because of the love he has for the constituents, and that nobody can stop the improvement and development he wants to bring to Accra North. He's been assuring the constituents that all of these will not last long and that there will be a closure to all of that. But he's also assured them that he's still the MP of Accra North, so they shouldn't worry. Now, Kojo Nyako, what next for the NDC after today's visit?
Well, so currently, the national chairman, Ufosuampofo, is addressing the gathering there. They number up to about 300. And then the regional chairman has also addressed them. Madam Sheraite Sami Jemfi has also addressed them. So from here, they will come back to Accra and to pursue the court processes. Once they have filed the notice of appeal, they will come and then they will wait for the other legal processes that would also happen. In fact, remember that an indigenous or a resident from Accra North has also filed an application before the Supreme Court seeking interpretation or invoking the exclusive or the original jurisdiction of the Supreme Court to interpret Article 94(2)(a). And so we wait for all of these processes to happen.
Definitely, this is something that we are monitoring with keen eyes, and we'll be updating our viewers with up-to-minute updates on this one. And let's come back to Accra and move straight to the University of Ghana, because the strike will cause a delay in our end-of-year examination. That's the worry being expressed by some students of the country's public universities as the University Teachers Association of Ghana and the Senior Staff Association embark on a nationwide strike today. The two unions in separate demands want government to address issues of their deteriorating conditions of service, while UTAG wants the implementation of a 2012 single spine package which put entry-level lecturers on a salary of $2,084. The senior staffers are demanding the computation and release of their Tier 2 pensions in arrears. JoyNews' checks in some major public universities across the country reveal academic activities have grounded to a halt. Let's start from here in Accra, where my colleague Manuel Kranting has returned from the University of Ghana,
which has a capacity of about 250 students, is this morning totally empty. Well, if you know the University of Ghana's schedule very well, its lectures start from 7:30 a.m. And so, properly speaking, by this time, this class should have been full to capacity. But the opposite is actually what is happening, giving you an indication that indeed the strike of the University Teachers Association of Ghana, as was so declared sometime last week to take effect this morning, is now in full force. And so there's absolutely nobody here. I see a couple of the students while I walked into the lecture hall standing outside, a bit stranded, because indeed the indication is that for some of them, they did not even know that their lecturers were striking effective this morning. And so some of them are even sitting outside. You can see them with their heads on the table. I spoke to a couple of them outside, and you can see them having a conversation. Be jaw-jawing and thinking whether or not their lecturers are indeed going to come for the lectures. I'll just try and get a bit closer to them this morning and then speak to them about where they're coming from and why they're still, around here. But I think you can come a bit closer so we have a quick conversation. Right, so these are some of the students at the University of Ghana who had lectures this morning, and for them, they were really hopeful of having to meet their lecturers in the classrooms, but that doesn't seem to be happening. Worse off is that there is another strike which is currently in force, being organized by the Senior Staff Association Universities of Ghana. So their strike is sort of coinciding with the strike of the University Teachers Association of Ghana. Good morning, what's your name?
I'm Deborah.
Deborah, so you're a student of the University of Ghana, correct?
Yes, please.
Which level?
Level 100.
Level 100. You had a lecture this morning?
Yes, please.
Okay, tell me about the lecture. Is it happening? Why are you outside?
Yeah, I think it's been cancelled. Yes, I came with the hopes of coming for tutorials. We were told on Friday that there'll be tutorials towards the preparation of the exams, but it seems it's not coming on, so yeah. Was
there any communication to you whatsoever?
Yeah, we got a letter. It was sent on a group chat, but I just hoped that there would be lectures, so I just came to find out.
So you are hoping against hope that. But what course are you reading? And I mean, are you done with your coursework for the semester? How is this going to affect you?
I'm doing biomedical engineering, and we are not done. Yes, like we have a lot to cover, and since we are just using 6 weeks for learning, we have a lot undone, and they were planning to use this week to finish the things they couldn't finish. But since the lectures are not coming on, I don't know how we'll be able to finish them. Yeah.
I'll come back for us to talk about how this will affect you. And you've mentioned the 6 weeks, and there's a peculiar explanation to why the University of Ghana is doing 6 weeks for lectures and not the original 13 weeks as you have it. I'll give that to you. But what's your name?
Etonam.
Etonam, I saw you sitting out there, you're reading yourself. You seem to have already taken the stuff into your own hands, and you are learning ahead of the lectures, correct?
Yes, please.
Okay, so tell me, what course do you read and why are you out this early?
Okay, so initially, the normal routine was to be 13 weeks of study, but due to the COVID-19 and then its outbreak and everything, it has been reduced to 6 weeks. And even with that 6 weeks, we are not able to cover everything in class. Some topics are being given to us as reading assignments. So it is up to you, the student. If you don't take on the extracurricular activity on yourself to learn more, you are really going to be left behind.
So even before the coming of the strike, there was a shortfall in terms of contact hours and so on?
Yeah, probably, but it was limited, more of online and then less of face-to-face. But with this second semester, I'm a level 100 student. So with this second semester, we've had more face-to-face than online lectures, yes.
And you are hoping that this morning you'll have your lectures to teach you, but that's not happening?
Yeah, hopefully, but if it doesn't come on, we still learn on our own.
Okay, let me speak to this lady. Well, this lady tells me she's coming from Kwabinya. You can confirm that, correct?
Yes, please.
So you're coming from Kwabinya. It means that you're not a resident on campus?
Yes, please.
Okay, so you had a lecture this morning?
Yes, I don't know if it's coming on, but for me, I thought it was coming on.
Okay. So you prepared and came?
Yes, please.
Tell me, what did you find when you went to the class?
Nobody was there.
Say again?
Nobody was there, please.
Nobody was in a class? Yes. But are you done with your coursework and so on?
Yes, please, majority.
You're done with majority of it, but you have exams this week, correct?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
So this week is supposed to be your revision week?
Yes, please. Yes.
And then you're not having lectures around?
No, please.
Okay, and so this is just the situation here at the University of Ghana. The students sort of walk in and walk out. The lecturers are demanding what they call proper conditions of service, as you would have it in 2012. The single spine salary structures adjustment put them a little over $2,000 at entry level for lecturers. But that is not the situation here. Now they are demanding that must happen, or else they are not returning to the class. And indeed, they are not in a class.
We head to the Ashanti region, where students of Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology are worried strike by university teachers will cause delay in writing their end-of-year examination. The examination scheduled for next week may be disrupted if the industrial action by UTAG continues. Nanaya Ojima has been on this beat for us and joins me live. Right, we'll be going to Nanaya Ojima shortly, but Deputy Minister in charge of Employment and Labour Relations, Bright Rekubrobe, is also on the line for us. Sir, I'm grateful for your time. You've met the Senior Staff Association on strike and also the UTAG people on strike before this particular one. Why are we still here?
To your listeners and to Aisha yourself, it's an unfortunate situation. We are not happy with that situation at all. Still calling on UTAG and the Senior Staff Association to reason with us at this point and then go back to the lecture halls. So this is our plea to begin with. But Asha, we are not here for nothing. You know, these things are called negotiations. So a party comes, and if they are otherwise not entrenched, we must be able to get to a truce and bring everything to a close. Unfortunately, these matters are not resolved by only one party. In the case of the Senior Staff Association, their first request was for government to pay them their Tier 2 funds, which we did. Through the Ministry of Employment and Labor Relations, we were able to get Ministry of Finance to honor that payment. So that has since been paid. Then the issue of interest comes. Aisha, the matter of interest is not just the clerk of the party. This involves data work. And so Controller and Accountant General, who is supposed to do that work, had been instructed to do so. Last Friday, our checks there indicates that there still is an ongoing process. So if you pin down a timeline that you haven't received interest on the principal that has been paid, monies which hitherto from 2010 had not been paid and had been honored this time round, just the interest that must be paid is what we are working on to pay. Then you say because of that, you are going on strike. Sometimes some of these things need to be revisited and looked at. And that's why I'm saying that we are pleading with them. A letter has been sent to them through by the Labour Commission. I was told this afternoon that 12:30 on Thursday, I am going to Labour Commission to meet with the Senior Staff Association. And then hopefully, it's even possible that Controller would have finished doing that work and then we take it to them. There are other issues of negotiations that are ongoing conditions of service, which is also a process. And fair wages is taking that up. So that will also be resolved, God willing. The matter for UTAG, I must put on record that the current executives of UTAG have done so well by getting more enhanced conditions of service for me than any other leadership that I have even seen. But why are we here on strike? Here on strike for one reason. They have brought it to our attention that their salary have devalued from since 2012, and they want a restoration. Aisha, that's a bigger conversation. Graciously, the finance minister has agreed. My minister, the education minister, the finance, all of us are meeting them tomorrow. There was a release that was issued last Friday for a technical committee to be constituted. This morning, a letter has gone to UTAG leadership for them to come to a meeting tomorrow with the constitution of this subcommittee for us to begin the work on the conversation of the devalued salary and see how best we can, resolve this matter. So I'm sure by the end of tomorrow, we should have a better roadmap that will appeal to our UTAG members for them to go back to the lecture hall.
Mr. Rekuprobe, hold on a second for me because it will be appropriate for us to know at what stage we are with some of the issues that have been raised in this letter. But my colleague, Nana Ojima, is at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. What's the situation there? Is it any different from what we're seeing in Accra?
It's different from what's happening in Accra. at Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, the lecture halls are opened, but for lecturers to come in and perform their duties, they are not in. So students who were not aware of the situation this morning had to come to campus in hope that they are going to meet their lecturers and commence revision, as the students say, for preparing for examination, which is next week. So this morning there were some students, and to their surprise, they didn't meet their lecturers in the classroom. So for the students, it will be difficult for them to go through what they've been taught. Even though they are doing so, they say there are some topics that they have to treat with their lecturers before the semester comes to an end, or before they sit for the end of semester examination. But due to the absence of these lecturers, it will be difficult for them to go through these new topics before the examination. So they are worried about the situation. So some of the students are also doing their project work. That's the final year students. But this morning, some were supposed to commence their project defense. But the students who are, the lecturers who are supposed to supervise this academic exercise are not in school. So it's a big worry for students at Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology.
Right. Mr. Rekobrobe, I'm happy about the fact that you think that by tomorrow we'll be seeing our way clear on this matter. But let's look at some of the issues that have been identified in the letter that was the petition that was sent to you. And one of it talks about the computation of Tier 2 pension interest. Exactly which stage are we on this one?
Yes, that's what I explained earlier, that the principal had been paid about a month ago, and the issue of interest was raised. So we directed controller to do the computation. This is spanning the period 2010 to 2016. And so controller will have to take their time, generate the data, and compute the interest. That is what we have done. The evidence of which I can give you if you come to my office. You will see that an instruction has been given to controller. But like I said, some of these issues, they are not resolved by only one party. Normally, it starts with the mother ministry, and then it gets to a stage where our ministry comes in, and then Ministry of Finance will have to come in, and other government institutions that must help resolve this. So it's a matter of time. When we go to Labour Commission on Thursday, I am sure that looking at it and looking at the roadmap, we shall get understanding and they go back to do their work.
Now, as you can see now, it is the students who are feeling the pinch, especially as their exams is around the corner. What are you doing in the interim to ensure that teaching and learning is not halted on our campuses?
Well, it's an unfortunate situation, and you know, these things happen, and the loser is ultimately even not the student; it is the country. You know, so we are appealing, and that is why government has been very proactive to get a letter this morning, go out and ensure that we are meeting tomorrow and ensure that we get all parties back to their workplaces. So I am appealing to them. Fortunately, the lecturers have not said they have withdrawn all their services. They said that they are not going to teach. And today, tomorrow, God willing, we meet them tomorrow, and we will appeal to them by way of a roadmap that will give them a clear sense of where we are going. Then they go back to the lecture halls.
Right. So let's go to Rafiq Salam, who also have an update on the strike situation. Hello, Rafiq.
Aisha, currently the situation. Hello,
go
Aisha.
Ahead. Go ahead, Rafiq.
The situation at the Simon Giedon Dombo University of Business and Integrated Development Studies is not different. As I speak to you now, the lecturers have refused to render any service to anybody or student at the university. And now they have ordered the security personnel to lock all lecture halls and all offices of the faculty and also at the departments. And so at the university currently, no work is going on now there. And so students are stranded. I'm talking about the final year students. Remember, University for Development Studies, a couple of weeks ago, they went on vacation, but the final year students have to be there to deliver their thesis or their project work. And so they are supposed to submit these project work or these theses to the various faculties or departments. And so I'm told that the deadline is on the 9th of January. That's where they are supposed to defend their thesis. And so today, when the press conference was held by the various students of the university, they made a declaration that yes, we are embarking on an industrial strike, and the other thing will be that we will lock down all offices and faculties. So I came out and saw some students, about a dozen of them, they were in front of some of the offices, and then they wanted to submit this project work or their thesis, but the offices were locked. And so these students are now feeling the brunt of this industrial strike that has been embarked on by their lecturers at the SDU base. But let me also tell you that, Isa, it's not the situation at the SDU base. It's not only about the Utah strike. They also have some reasons who they have added up to the industrial strike being embarked on. They are talking about salary discrepancies or disparities. They cited instances like the vice chancellor or the university, their financial controller, or whatever. They are taking salaries that are quite different from other vice chancellors at the various universities. So they want that one to be halted. They're also talking about their migration to the Comptroller and Accountant General's IPPD2, and they're saying that they should halt it because they are thinking that they will not be fairly treated if it's allowed to go on. And so for them, they stated categorically that it's a double track strike that they have been back on. They are on the Utah strike and also on a strike of their own. And so that's what they are saying. And they are saying that they will not render any service to anybody, any student at the school beginning today. And so they have already blocked lecture halls and also all faculties and department offices at the university.
Rafiq Salam is from the Upper West region with that update. Mr. Rakubrebe, if you're still on, I mean, over the period, we've seen the back and forth between you and the teachers on this one. Now, as you wait to engage them on Thursday, what are the assurances? Because already they have little confidence in government, in addressing their issues. And if you look at the letter they issued, they said, point 3 says that government's contemptuous and total disregard to the National Labour Commission's directive on January 28 upon hearing from both parties to resolve all concerns within a 3-month stipulated period, which also regrettably elapsed on March 31, 2021. So they already lost confidence, in government. What assurances are you giving them that, this matter will be brought to a closure on Thursday when you meet them?
Yes, Asa, what is happening is that whichever way, it is still the parties that will meet and have discussion. Whichever way, it is the same institutions that have seen us this far are the same institutions that will sit and work on this. The issue is that they are human institutions. And so, for example, if you wanted us to meet, then there is going to be, for instance, media budget to be read. You would not expect Ministry of Finance to be able to attend that meeting. So some of these things call for readjustment in time. And so it's not that government deliberately would ignore these, our cherished lecturers, when we have to meet them and have discussions. So I'm pleading with them that the matter has come before us. It's not a pleasant one. We are meeting UTAC tomorrow. We are meeting with SSA on Thursday. God willing, by end of week, the president has really seen to the ministers to ensure that we resolve this matter. So we are all on deck to ensure that they go back to the classrooms with happiness by way of their challenges that they brought before us being resolved.
I'm grateful for your time this afternoon. Mr. Bright Rekubrobe, he is a Deputy Employment and Labour Relations Minister. We take a break on the pulse. There is more when we return. Welcome back to the pulse, to the rest of our conversation. And investigations into the controversial Sagle housing project have established consultancy services were awarded to 3 different companies for the same work done. In all, a total of $13 million were paid instead of the $5 million which was captured as consultancy fee under the original agreement. According to the document filed by the Attorney General in 2013, Architectural and Engineering Services Limited, AES Limited, which had the consultancy contract, outsourced its services to VHM for a period of 24 months. It also showed that later in April 2015, the Ministry of Works and Housing entered into another contract for consultancy services with Ridge Management Solutions. And Attorney General Godfrey Dame further observes that the payments made were without any evidence of work done contrary to the contract's requirements. My colleague Joseph Akable has been walking us through the details.
It mainly has to do with the issuance of false certificates. Is one charge that runs through various sums. Then there is the bit about the misapplication of public funds or misuse of public property. It's also another offense that runs through. And so these are the offenses that have been leveled against the public officials in terms of false certificates. Is one charge that runs through. In terms of the public officials, there is the issue of woefully causing financial loss to the state that runs through various sums. Then there is the bit about the misapplication of public funds or misuse of public property. It's also another offense that runs through. And so these are the offenses that have been leveled against the public officials. In terms of the private individuals, there is the bit about dishonestly causing a loss to the state and dishonestly receiving, among other charges that have also been leveled against them, Daniel. So the substantive issue against the public officials is the fact that sometime in 2012, the state went in for $200 million from an international credit agency. And this was money that was supposed to be used to construct 5,000 housing units. Now, we are told that when Mr. Dauda took over as the Works and Housing Minister, he reviewed the contract. And so he said what Parliament had approved was that $200 million for 5,000 housing units. The minister takes over, is accused of having reviewed it down, was contrary to what Parliament approved, to now bring it to 1,500 housing units at the same cost of $200 million. We are told that the chief director later reviewed this downwards to 1,400, aside from the fact that they said without any basis, the contract sum all of a sudden reduced from $200 million to an amount of $181 million. Now, the AG says that as it stands now, the work should have been completed in 2017. We've not had the 5,000 units. We rather have just about 668 units that have been completed, which, as you indicated, he says are not habitable. And so what it means is that the $200 million that we took for the housing units that we're supposed to finish and sell and get money to be able to pay for it, we've not been able to do that. There's also the bit about a consultancy service contract that was awarded. We are told that this particular contract, under the execution of the master agreement, consultancy for the project was not supposed to exceed $5 million, but we are looking at figures in the region of $13 million. In some instances, we are told that the same consultancy service was awarded 3 times on 2 occasions to the same company, and on 1 occasion, it was shared between AESL and another company that also executed. The thing about VHM and RSM was that the majority shareholder in RSM is also the person who is a director at VHM. And so we are told that it's the same individual. He is the Tete Angelo Novi, who is also being charged. And we are told that it's the same work that was given to AESL, that AESL decided to subcontract to VHM. It's that same work that was handed to RSM on 2 occasions. And so the AG makes the point that this is work that they were required to, even if they were supposed to have done anyway, they were required to show evidence of the work before payments were effected. That was not done. And so as per the records that are available to the AG says, there's no evidence that work was done. The evidence indicates that it's the same work that was being done by AESL, which had subcontracted to VHM. And that work was extended from the period of 2013. And so the AG says within the same period that the contract was being awarded to RSM twice, the same contract that was being given to VHM, which had the RSM majority shareholder as director, was being extended and no work was being done, yet the payments were affected for close to $13 million, even though the contract said that out of the $200 million, if you're going to pay for consultancy service, it shouldn't go beyond $5 million. Once the charges are filed, a date to be fixed for the arraignment. And when they show up in court for the arraignment, that is when the charges will be read against them. Then they'll be afforded the opportunity to respond to the charges leveled against each of them. And so we understand that they maintain that they did not commit any crime. And so those are matters that they'll put to the court once the case is called, when a date is fixed.
Let's do more on this because lawyer Martin Kpebu joins me on via Zoom. What are your own readings into this matter, especially now that a former minister has been fingered for misappropriation of funds?
Oh, well, Aisha, in matters like this, and talking to a lawyer, naturally, I have to start from the point of view that a person is innocent until proven guilty. That's Article 19 of our Constitution. Yes, we always have to guard that jealously so that we don't end up convicting people in the court of public opinion even before the court has had a chance to go into the matter. So, based upon that, I'm not able to make much of the case until we've heard the side of the accused. So that is to say, when the case is presented to court, eventually we will hear their answer. But so far, what we can celebrate is that, yes, the state is showing that as and when there's evidence that something has gone wrong, they will present it to the court, and that's good. So that's accountability, okay? Putting their deeds before court so that they can account for their actions is what we should celebrate. But whether somebody is guilty or not, we will not know until the trial has come to an end.
Counsel, how does this development affect the execution of this contract? As we all know, it's been on the table for some time now, and we're all wishing that it's executed so that a lot of people can have homes to live in.
From where I'm hoping, I may be wrong, but I'm hoping that the court case cannot stop it, because in such a case, you see that from what Akable was reading, the analysis all of you have done so far, it's about the number of units taken from 5,000 to something, 1,000 and all that. So I don't see why that should stop the project. That's number one. Then number two, usually in matters like this, they can go and take a video, okay? A video of the whole project so far, the buildings in contention, a comprehensive video, so that if there are any, disputations as to what has been done, what has not been done, the video can be used. And then also, so that's it. And in taking the video, maybe they can extend facilities to the accused, that they should also go and take their own videos, because we don't want that in future when it gets to that point, it will be said that, oh, but you continue the buildings without informing us to come for evidence. So they can gather as much evidence as they want from the buildings and then continue with the construction.
Now, in that, what Akable read to us and what the Attorney General has been explaining to us, you realize that there are a lot of monies paid instead of the money that is supposed to be paid, as captured by the contract. For instance, it talks about $5 million that was $13 million that were paid to 3 companies who did same work, consultancy, instead of the $5 million that was captured as consultancy fee under the original document. So, if you look at some of these issues, what are the likely outcome, or what is the likely outcome in court, and what sort of charges could the people fingered could they be facing in court?
So it's been said that the offenses are causing financial loss, okay, and that's under Section 179A of the Criminal Offences Act, okay. So, and generally, to give a general indication on it, is basically to say that if a person, that's a public officer, and even a private officer, when they are transacting, do any transaction that involves public funds, okay, public property, and they don't take care, and in the process we lose money or public property, then that causes financial loss. So if Mr. A is being given, let's say, 50 million to execute a project, and then in disbursing the money, he doesn't want to see that before he pays, services have been rendered, then that is when he can be charged for causing financial loss. And you know, we've had a number of those cases. Remember the quality drain case? So that case involved the rice project. They sent Ibrahim Adam, Kwame Pepra, and all of them to jail. Apart from that, you remember the Chikata case? Though eventually he won his case, but he had served quite a substantial part of the prison this term. Then you remember Alfred Buyome, but he lost his case. So these are the cases under the causing financial law. So it all depends on the evidence. And as I've already stated, we will not know the strength of the case until the accused comes to court and also say their side of the story.
I'm grateful for your time. Martin Kwibu is a legal practitioner, and he's been explaining to us what could be the outcome of the prosecution of some of the ministers who've been fingered in this. Well, speaking of the condition of the buildings, here's a report filed by my colleague Kwesi Parker-Wilson in April when he visited the abandoned Saglemi housing project.
On the dirty tarred roads is the first thing you see upon entering the abandoned site project, which sits on a 300-acre land. It's fast becoming a grazing field for cattle who feed on the weeds growing within the median of the buildings and its surroundings. Street lights, yet to be connected to the national grid, have been mounted in front of the buildings, and the drainage system is visible in between the tarred rows. The housing project comes in two categories: a two-story building with 9 apartments each and another 2-bedroom self-contained apartment. The cream and ash painting on the buildings were fading, perhaps due to being exposed to the vagaries of the weather. Now, let's quickly take a scan and go through some of the houses or the rooms to understand what you have there. I'm talking about the apartment. So, first of all, of course, you see the 2-story building, as I mentioned. Now, if you look at my right, for example, this is where it was expected that it would have the meters. And so each room or each apartment would be connected to a meter, which is going to give them electricity as well. Now, to my immediate left is the one of the apartment. And so I walk in, the doors are firmly fixed doors. Of course, you could see that there is a security door because you could see from the inside who is knocking at your door. You also have your light knob as well. Now, if you look here, these are it's a tiled floor, actually, I should say. It's a tiled floor, fully tiled floor. We have all the connections with regards to electricity. And of course, you could see some of them having the bulbs as well here. And so this presumably is expected to be the hall of this particular apartment. And I get a sense that it's a 2-bedroom apartment. And so if you move away from the hall, to my immediate right is another bedroom. It appears to be that it has also been completed as well, but the only difference is that the place has been abandoned. But of course, you can see some weeds here and there. And because it's been raining and they haven't access to the room, the floor is a bit kind of muddy, untidy. That is the situation here at the Saglemi housing project. Now, let me take you to the washroom as well. Now, if you come to the washroom, this is expected to be the toilet room where, of course, you want to discharge your human waste. Here, you have a sink here that is equally furnished. They have the lamp holder for the bulbs as well. The doors fully, installed here at the washroom, I should say. Now, shortly when you move from there, you come to the bathroom. that is where you have to take your bath after a long day activity, or perhaps this is where you have to be. And so look at the state. I mean, very untidy. The place is in a mess, I should say. You have a shower here, of course. So this is supposed to be the bathroom where you take your bath in the morning if you wake up, and of course when you return from work. And this is a door, but unfortunately I can't have access to this door. It's locked. I don't know why it is locked. It appears to be the only door I've seen that is locked. All the doors have been opened. So this is the current state of the Sagleme housing project. And of course you might be wondering, where is the kitchen? Here is the kitchen. This is the state of the kitchen for you. They have their sink, and of course, this is the state for you. Very, very untidy, and and of course, I mean, the burglars are here. So this is the current state of the kitchen. And of course, this, I'm sure, is expected to be the storeroom where you keep some of your utensils and some of your products and all that. So this is the state. This is the current state of the Sagleme housing project. A 2-bedroom apartment, 4 each, and as I mentioned, is a 3-story building. Each building has 9 apartments in all. Right, so I want to take you upstairs so that you check what is there as well. But I'm sure the situation will not be different from what you've already seen. But the point is that even look at the staircase as well. It's unkempt. I mean, there are no cleaners around to sanitize the place or properly to keep the place in check so that the place will be in the proper shape. So this is the first floor, actually. And to my immediate left, that's where you have a better appreciation of the doors. And these are the doors that have been fixed with almost all the houses here, or all the apartments, as we say, here. Now, here is another apartment. Now let me enter. Of course, there's nobody in, so I cannot knock. I easily have access to the place. So this appears to be a single room, self-contained. And so, of course, it's expected that here will be probably your hall and kitchen. Yeah, of course, if you look at the setup, it is likely to be a hall and a kitchen, whilst here becomes your bedroom. This is expected to be your bedroom. And of course, I mean, you can see some 2 plastic chairs here, and of course the washroom as well. Let me see if I can have access to the, of course, that's correct. So this is the washroom as well. And there's one thing you notice, that all over the place, the place is extremely dirty. So this is the current state of the Sagleme housing project, where the NDC and NPP have been having issues with it. It's a controversial project. I mean, a huge controversial project. The NPP insists that this project hasn't been completed. The NDC insists it's been completed. But we are doing our own checks, and we are realizing that it's almost.
Now, Ghana and Angola have committed to a pact to address emerging threats of piracy on the continent's waters, especially Gulf of Guinea. At a joint news conference addressed by President Akufo-Addo and the visiting Angolan President Manuel Gonçalves, the 2 leaders said the activities of the pirates are giving the continent a bad name and must be addressed. President Akufo-Addo also disclosed agreements aimed at working to improve on the living conditions of citizens of the 2 countries.
In the past, even in pre-colonial times, Ghanaian fishermen found their way to Angola. We established relations as far back as then. And then in the struggle for freedom for our continent, the liberation from colonial rule, our 2 peoples and governments cooperated very strongly. Today, we're cooperating again as multi-party democratic states to address the issues of development, progress, and prosperity on our continent. We see the future in Africa in the solidarity of the African peoples and their ability to cooperate and work together to develop the continent. Your visit here is a strong indication of the willingness of your own people and your government to go down this same path of solidarity and cooperation. There are many areas of mutual interest that tie our two countries together, whether it is in the development of our hydrocarbon resources and the exploitation of our mineral resources, the development of our agriculture, the development of our educational systems it's based on science and technology advancement. There are so many areas of common interest where the successful cooperation between our two countries can be of great benefit to our peoples. We have also the very important task ahead of us, how we can work together to rid our common seas, the Gulf of Guinea, of the menace of piracy, which is now confronting it. It's not a good idea that today the Gulf of Guinea is reckoned as perhaps the most dangerous seas in the world. And it's extremely important that we find an opportunity within the context of the Gulf of Guinea Commission, which is already in existence, to have the development and the cooperation of Angola and of Ghana.
The Angolan president, Gonçalves, is also unhappy he had to travel to Europe before connecting to Accra and wants the continent to work at improving connectivity among African states.
How important to consider the need of trusting in our capacities and our own resources, not only material ones, but as human capabilities. It is very important, because otherwise we wouldn't have signed and we wouldn't have established the African Continental Free Trade Area. We have established that organization precisely because we consider as being very important looking inside, looking at our continent at the first stage before we look from outside. And that is a sentiment not only of the two heads of state present here, of Angola and Ghana, but virtually it's a consensus among the heads of state of Africa that the way forward is this one.
Some Ghana immigration officers who were caught on camera taking bribes and allowing illegal migrants to enter the country despite the closure of the borders are being investigated. According to the Controller General of the Ghana Immigration Service, Kwame Techi, who was making remarks at a decoration ceremony to promote some officers for their professionalism, the service will not shield anyone who compromises the security of Ghanaians at the border. That's according to him.
In a speech, the Honorable Minister mentioned 5 officers of the Ghana Immigration Service who were facing disciplinary proceedings or being investigated for taking bribes and allowing illegal immigrants to enter the country in spite of the closure of the borders by His Excellency the President. Let me state here and now that the management of the service will not shield any officer who misconduct himself and compromise on the security at the borders. The Deputy Controller General's officers of the GIS, we all know the core values of the service, which among others include professionalism and integrity, which are the ingredients that will shape our character, attitude, and inculcate as a sense of patriotism in the performance of our duties. The contributions of the Ghana Immigration Service to national development and the maintenance of internal security are not in doubt in this moment of our country's development, and we will not allow anyone to destroy such efforts.
The Controller General also warned any officer who is indicted will be dealt with according to the law.
The borders, we hear officers collude with people to allow illegality and allow people to enter the country despite the closure of our borders by His Excellency the President. I want to sound a warning here again. When you are caught, we shall deal with you in accordance with the laws regulating the service. We have done our best to lift the image of the service, and we will not allow few officers for their personal selfish interests to destroy the image of the GRS and the country as a whole.
Meanwhile, one of the officers who was decorated at the ceremony, Chief Superintendent Bernard Kojo-Nketia, expressed his gratitude for the honors and says it will inspire them to do more.
You know, during the COVID time, and you have people, about 40 men under you, going through the bush in the night. This interception was done around 12 midnight, and we have to be in the bush with ladies. So we thank God, because those who come around comes with weapon. And if you don't have a good weapon, you will not be able to outwit them. And it is based on our intelligence and the hard work that we have been rewarded. This reward or award came through during the time of our commander and our Comptroller General of Immigration. He instituted this, and it has been good for us. Our morale is high. We are going back to our various stations to do more work. Normally, there is Mensa in every house, so the media try to portray or publish the bad ones of immigration. But let me tell you, we are doing a good job far away in most of the bushes while people are asleep.
A female police constable has allegedly been murdered in cold blood by her civilian boyfriend in Damongo. Information from the Savannah Regional Police indicated that the command received a signal of her demise through a friend, and police colleagues quickly mobilized personnel to the scene and saw her lifeless body lying in a pool of blood. Isaac Nonya is our correspondent in that region. He joins me with details. Isaac, bring us up to speed. How did this whole happen?
Yes, the late police officer, Sandra Sedu, lives 100 meters away from the Savannah Regional Police Command. We're told according to the police bureau, she's supposed to be on duty on Sunday, but that fateful morning, they didn't see her. But upon a tip-off, they came to the house and saw that a padlock was put on the trap gate. So thinking now that she has gone out, they went back. But upon second thought, they said, no, let's get back and find out. They got here, spoiled the gate, and entered and saw her lively body lying there. As we speak, investigators from the Savannah Northern Regional Police Command, crime scene investigators have just left the place after taking samples of what they needed to hear. And also, there are some of the samples that include a ceiling fan. We're told that what we saw in the room, the ceiling fan was where the suspect, who they claim is the former boyfriend of the deceased, tied a rope and tried to also take his life. But when that failed, he bolted. And we saw inscription of blood on the wall, 2 inscriptions stated, "We die together, we laugh together. We die together, we laugh together." But we are told the suspect has bolted, and the room has been scattered with most of the things her belongings made of her own blood. So I will speak now. The crime investigator who came from Tamale have just left the scene with some of the samples, and we are also told the police command is pursuing the suspect wherever he will be. And we are told he came from Obuasi Nationality region and stayed with the deceased for some few days, leading to the incident. Some of the co-tenants of the disease, we tried to get an understanding of what had really happened and if they noticed any sign of such a thing or what really happened when the suspect came around. All that they noticed was that there was calm between the two of them. They didn't see any sign of friction. But the incident happened when they also did not notice because the power lock closed, the power lock on the gate was locked. And they didn't see any sign of both the suspect and the disease until the police came around and they have to also give the accounts of what they witnessed.
Well, what has police preliminary investigation gathered? Do you know?
Yes, the preliminary investigation is that one, the said boyfriend who came here is seen as a crime, the major suspect here, the key suspect, because he was the last person seen within the premises with the disease and in his room. What they are also suspecting is that there's rumor flying around that the young man, the boyfriend, came and met another man with the suspect, the disease, and they claim suspecting that the lady was cheating on him. These are defeated because the relationship between the deceased and the suspect ended 3-4 years ago. So they do not understand if that should be the case, why it should come leading to what he really did. They're also suspecting that he came and planned the whole thing. He planned before he came because considering the distance between the police headquarters and the distance where the suspect stayed, he observed that the place usually calm and people don't come around. Many of the tenants who are nursery trainees always leave for lectures, and that was the time he also carried he allegedly carried the incident and then left the scene. After now, we are told police are searching for him between Bamboy, Kintampo, Tekima, and Ashanti region.
Isaac Nonya is our correspondent from the Savannah region. From the Savannah region to Parliament, as the committee probing the Sputnik vaccines contract prepares to submit its report this week. The majority is demanding that the committee's vice chairman, Kwabena Mensah Akando, recuses himself for making judicial comments on the issue. Mr. Akando, whilst debating the mid-year budget review statement on the floor of the House, claimed the health minister, Kwekwajiman Menu, had paid 16 million Ghana cedis for the Sputnik vaccines. This is despite insistence by the health minister when he appeared before the committee that he hasn't paid any money. Vice Chairman of Parliament's Finance Committee, Patrick Yawbwama, told the House Mr. Akando's comments are prejudicial. He says Mr. Akando must step aside from the committee before its report comes to the floor.
To investigate the matter and report to this House. To make comment on the Minister of Finance's statement, he's bringing his views on that committee to the floor, which is very dangerous, Mr. Speaker. Thank you. The outcome of that investigation. For a vice chair of that committee to say that prior to the production of the report of the committee, to make that comment that the minister did not follow the right procedures, which is a subject matter of investigation by the committee. That is my point, Mr. Speaker.
I his views may form part of the report, but we deal with the decision of the committee, not individual views or comments. It's a decision of the committee that carries weight on the floor. And so an individual comment cannot be prejudicial to the report of the committee. You are entitled to, but please, your last sentence.
The minister
I didn't say concluding. I say your last sentence.
The minister has blamed almost everything, the economic woes on COVID. Mr. Speaker, the figures and the facts do not support you. Mr. Speaker, if you look at the growth of this economy.
Let's get to our correspondent, Joseph Opoku-Gakpo, who has been on this beat for us. Opoku-Gakpo, what more can you tell us from Parliament with regards to the report of the committee that investigated the Sputnik V contract?
And she's managed to drop.
Hello, Gakpo.
On in Parliament earlier today. Currently, the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Samuel Abu-Jinapor, is on the floor of the House. He's responding to questions having to do with illegal rosewood trade in the country. You recall a story about 5 containers of rosewood that were impounded at the Tema port sometime in June, and the concerns that came up that this was happening despite the ban that we know exists on the harvesting, export, and even transportation of rosewood. And the minister has been explaining that his ministry has been looking into that. They've gone ahead to fish out those involved. The owners of 4 out of the 5 containers have been identified, and the necessary processes will unfold in order to bring them to book. Not just that, he's also been indicating that when it comes to that specific containers of rosewood that were impounded, they will be donated to the National Cathedral Project, and that's what's also going to happen with regards to all other future illegal rosewood that will be impounded going forward. So the minister is still on the floor of the House. He's also been responding to questions as to how many rosewood salvage permits have actually been issued by government over the years, and he's been disclosing that more such permits have been issued during the time of the NDC administration, the previous NDC administration, than the current NPP administration. To move on to other things that has been happening on the floor of the House, there's been a conversation on what exactly is going to happen with the Sputnik vaccines contract probe. We know that that committee has completed its report. They were supposed to have submitted their report last week, Friday, but we're gathering that there are some concerns that have come up with regards to the final report that has been put together by the committee lead, which some of the minority MPs have concerns about, which is how come that issue is still outstanding. And so we're waiting for that to be resolved eventually, so that then that report can eventually come to the floor of the House. Just 2 other final things that has been happening today. MPs have continued the debate on the mid-year budget review statement that was presented to Parliament, with a number of MPs, including the chairman of Parliament Environment Committee, that Dr. Mafo Emmanuel, all contributing to the debate. So that as well has been unfolding, and for now we're waiting for a final green light on when exactly the anti-LGBTQ bill, as it's come to be called, will be laid. It's tabled for today, but it's not got into its turn yet. It's been skipped for other businesses to be done, but we're waiting so that then even as the House continues to sit, even later into the evening, we're waiting for when that particular bill will eventually be brought to the House for the necessary approval.
Joseph Opoku-Gakpo is our man in Parliament. Our lenses are widely opened in Parliament, and we'll be bringing you updates of happenings in that house. Now, in the wake of the coronavirus pandemic and with the increase in medical cases in Ghana, the Accra Medical Center has built a new 45-bed capacity, ultra-modern hospital facility as part of efforts to support government in the provision of quality health care. The hospital officially opened the new facility on Friday to the public. My colleague Judith Awachitando visited the facility and has filed this report.
The Accra Medical Center was built in 2011 with just a handful of workers and clients. Today, the center services over 90,000 patients. Over the years, it has fulfilled its primary aim of providing quality and affordable healthcare services. However, in the wake of the pandemic and with the increasing number of medical cases, board chair of the medical center, Moses Kluko, indicated that the hospital thought it wise to expand its services.
So we started planning such a project about 10-20 years ago, and then we came out. I came back to Ghana this September, 11 years. And when we came, we started going to other places, and the challenges we faced, sitting down, waiting for a doctor for 4 hours, going through the difficulties of getting good care, we thought it was the right thing to do. So we started Accra Medical Center 2011, and over the years, our clients and patients asked for more. They wanted a one-stop shop. They enjoyed the service we gave and wanted to have everything in-house. So we started to expand our service, and that led to this project.
Today, the Accra Medical Center, through its newly built 45-bed capacity hospital facility, is able to provide orthopedic services with neurosurgery and ICU services set to begin within this month.
Okay, so this project is for Ghana. It's to serve Ghanaians. We have 3 wards. Each ward is 12 beds. We have a female ward and we have a male ward. We have 2 surgical theaters. We do all kinds of cases. We already started orthopedics. We've done about 7 hip replacements. We are hoping to do a neurosurgery case somewhere in August. And we are hoping to have other specialists on board to do a lot of cases. So now the plan is to shorten the waiting time for cases at the big hospital.
In an interview with JoyNews, Marketing and Communications Manager of Stanbic Bank, Maukwa Fajinu, explained the company is always in support of such projects due to the impact it has on the Ghanaian populace.
We've had a very good relationship with this project from beginning. It's one that has impact beyond the building you see. It provides a critical service to the economy, particularly to the provision of healthcare. And these are projects that the bank actively looks for and actively partners because of the cascading impact it has on the society.
The Accra Medical Center hopes to complement the government's efforts to produce quality healthcare in line with the Sustainable Development Goals. Judith Awachitando, JoyNews.
For years, 24-year-old Joshua Kwache was bedridden after a hit-and-run driver struck him. He struggled to do things for himself because every movement of his body was a painful ordeal, and only surgery could give him a semblance of normal life again. Well, after the broadcast of Joshua's story, a philanthropist has gone ahead to pay for the surgery. My colleague Judith Awachitando again reported on his earlier condition, visited his residence, and has filed this report.
He was walking just like anyone else until one fateful night on the Medina-Adenton highway 3 years ago, a vehicle hit him. That incident was a life-changing one. Due to his inability to get medical attention, Joshua would spend every day of his life groaning in pain. He would go days without food and lived in a basement with no proper place of convenience. For Joshua, all hope was lost.
Every day I'm going through pain. I mean, it's very bad. I always cry, and I mean, all I do is to pray to God.
After reporting on Joshua's story, however, JoyNews was contacted by a philanthropist who volunteered to pay for a surgery for Joshua under the condition of anonymity. After several checkups at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, neurosurgeon Dr. Maulia Metepe explained the extent of damage in Joshua's spine.
He also has a problem with controlling his urine and his feces. And the scans basically revealed a fracture in one of his vertebral bodies. The spine made up of 33 bones. Some people have more than that, maybe 34. And it's basically 7 bones in your neck, 12 bones in your chest, 5 bones in your flank or lumbar region, and then the sacrum and coccyx follow. Now we're talking about the second bone of the 5 in the lumbar region. That was what got broken in Joshua Kwache's case.
Dr. Metefe further highlighted that chances for Joshua to walk again were slim.
When Joshua visited us, I told him that the alignment of the spine is not good. Surgery will realign the spine, and surgery would also take off any form of pressure on the tail end of the spinal cord, as I mentioned. We do not think that the recovery of his nerves is possible, looking at the long duration in which he has waited.
So basically, Joshua be able to...
That is a very slim chance, and I think it is too slim to say a yes to.
This, however, did not discourage Joshua nor his donor. An initial payment of 20,000 Ghana cedis was made to the Kolebu Teaching Hospital for the commencement of the surgery. After spending a week in the hospital, Joshua finally underwent a spinal surgery. Not only that, but through donations to Wipe Your Tears Foundation, which took up Joshua's basic care, he was moved into a new apartment. We visited his residence a week after. It's been about a month since we last visited Joshua, who was paralyzed for 3 good years after a hit-and-run incident. After reporting on his situation, we had an anonymous donor who footed for his entire bill at the Computation hospital. Today, we are back at Joshua's new abode to see how he's faring. Hi, Joshua. How are you doing?
Please, I'm blessed, and you?
I'm also good. How have you been?
Yes, please, I'm doing good by the grace of God. Everything went good. The doctors were so kind, and the nurses. I didn't find it difficult to, go to the theater because everything were already prepared. I'm much excited. Now I don't feel the pain like the way I felt in the past. Yes, please, and now I can sit well, but before I couldn't sit well. I'm happy. Like I'm happy that now I have hope that I'll soon walk. Yes, please. I have that feeling that I'll soon walk. I would love to start work because they said I should be in the house for almost 3 months. After the 3 months, I can do something. So I want to start work. I really want to work, but I can't do any hard work. So I'm praying to get help so that I can start something by my own to survive.
In all, a total of 32,160 Ghana cedis was paid for Joshua's surgery.
So first of all, I'll give thanks to Almighty God, the Creator, for opening this a big door for me. And secondly, to Wipe Your Tears Foundation for their support and their love. And thirdly, I'll give thanks to JoyNews and the multimedia. May God richly bless you all, and may God richly bless the man or the donor who donated for my surgery.
So there you have it. Joshua is extremely grateful and will forever be grateful. Reporting for JoyNews, my name is Judith Awachit Tando.
Let's now talk about COVID-19 because 541 new cases have been recorded since the last update of Ghana's COVID-19 situation. Our active cases now stand at 5,524 with 13 more deaths. More worrying is the country's health facilities' inability to handle these numbers due to the surge. In a related development, though, we'll be talking about the Ghana Health Service that has denied allegations of poor COVID-19 testing. But let's check out the update from the Ghana Health Services portal. New cases now stand at 6,664, making our active cases 5,928. Now confirmed cases now 104,994. And then we have recoveries of 98,229. Death toll now has risen to 837. And if you look at the breakdown, the regional breakdown, you see that the red colors in the Ghana map is deepening and becoming bigger and bigger. We know that the Greater Accra region is leading, followed by the Greater Kumasi. And also, we have the Eastern region also coming up strongly and other regions following this. You can see that the circles are becoming equal. The sizes are becoming equal. This means that other regions are equally recording huge numbers. Now, in a related development, the Ghana Health Service is denying allegations of poor COVID-19 testing among passengers at the airports. It's saying that such viral complaints are erroneous. This follows concerns raised by some individuals and the minority in Parliament over what they say is discrepancies in the outcome of COVID-19 testing. According to the Ghana Health Service, the testing at the airport prior to implementation underwent rigorous quality checks and was found to be highly sensitive. The statement further reads, the FDA conducts regular monitoring of the work at the airport to ensure that it is up to standard, adding that the service provider at the airport also has its own internal quality control checks to ensure results produced are accurate. In conclusion, the service would like to assure the general public of our full confidence in the FDA-approved COVID-19 testing system at the Kotoka International Airport and will continue to enforce the testing at the airport. Time now for sports on the pulse. And Great Olympics head coach Arnold Walker has been speaking exclusively to Joy Sports about the 2020-2021 Ghana Premier League season. In the interview, Walker expressed how disappointed he is regarding the position on the league table. The 63-year-old also had some advice for champions Hearts of Oak. Here is an abridged version of that interview.
Taking me through this season, which was not easy, but by God's grace, I've been able to go through to the end of the season. The problem I had was what I was determined to do that I could not do, win the league, beside be in the top 4. So that's my only problem that I've had this season here.
We'll come to that shortly, but Hearts of Oak, at the start of the season, they were nowhere competing for the title. Then, at the end of match day 34, Hearts are champions. Did you see it coming?
No, I never saw it coming, seriously, because initially, Hearts were not doing good. Let me say, change of coaches till the last minute of the season that they had have to win their matches, and that have given them the cup for the year. So I would say they are the champions. There's nothing you can talk about.
Yeah, but
they are the champions. Yeah.
Next season, they'll be playing in the Champions League. Of course, winning the Premier League means you've qualified. What are the things you've spotted? You've played against them twice. What are the things you think they need heading into the Champions League?
I wouldn't like to say much, seriously, since I'm a coach, and they also have a coach. They have a technical director, assistant coach. They might have studied their ups and downs, so they should know better. And because I'm not an insider, so I believe
from the outside.
From the outside, I only meet them and make sure I want to score them.
And that full interview is on Fan Zone at 10:30 p.m. tonight. Make it 8. And that'll be 8 for The Pulse this afternoon. Always exciting to host you. For more news, log on to myjoyonline.com. You'll get updates of all the developing stories. Do enjoy the rest of our programs.